Welcome back to another episode of Clothing Brief. This is where we give you the latest and maybe not so greatest of the news in our industry. And today we've got quite a lineup. So let's start with the first story.
More volatility in the
In
luxury
the
sector.
luxury market.
I mean, it's almost a weekly conversation, isn't it?
It is.
I think it goes to a broader kind of trend, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But, Valentino, a brand that we both like,
Yes.
a fun brand, great history. Jacopo Venturini is stepping down. They say it's a mutual decision.
After 5 years.
Yeah, he's been around 5 years. The company's interestingly, it's only down about 2% in revenue, but they're seeing about a 22% drop in EBITDA. So,
right. And tell me, for those that are unfamiliar with how EBITDA impacts the business, what does that mean?
EBITDA is earnings before income, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Okay.
It's kind of a quick view of the health of the business when you look at EBITDA. And so they remove those elements, they look at the final number. Basically, it kind of translates to earnings are down, but either overheads up or general profitability on those individual items is also down. You can drive earnings by reducing cost. Costs can go up, you can still earn the same amount, but profitability is reduced. Or
Right.
if overhead is increased to drive that revenue, more advertising, more events, more things like that, your costs go up, and EBIT is a reflection of the combination of those.
Likely
We
it's a
don't have a lot
combination
of
of all of
insight.
it,
Could
right?
be,
Yeah.
could be. We're seeing this whole consolidation, this whole challenge in what we call the luxury or haute couture sector. Kering really kind of manages, there are two major groups, LVMH and Kering, that kind of manages a lot of these luxury brands. Kering has about 30% stake in Valentino at this point. They have the option to buy the balance of the company by 2028. I think what's going to happen is they're going to be looking for a new CEO. Luca De Meo, in our previous conversations, who's taking over Kering, is obviously going to step in and see if he can do his magic to save that. But it's interesting what's happening in this market, and again, we'll talk a little bit more of that.
Yeah. Okay. Moving into the secondhand clothing market, this industry is starting to get some challenges based on immigration rates. We talked about this last week too, that immigration rates are taxing our warehouses and the small U.S. manufacturing sector that exists, and now they're noticing quite a bit of hit in this space where we export 700,000 tons of secondhand clothing out of this country, and now there's quite a bottleneck happening.
Yeah, people aren't showing up. All the border towns, especially like Texas border towns where they're doing all these exports. U.S. exports about 700,000 tons of used clothing through these border hubs, and have been doing it for some time. These cities, these border cities that are managing all this stuff, like Laredo, McAllen, Hidalgo, and Houston, parts of California are dealing with that. People aren't showing up. They're, the interesting part is that what has made America great and what makes America great is we're all immigrants. Immigrant labor manages jobs that typical Americans don't want to do. And as you startle that immigrant labor base, as you stifle incoming immigrant labor from coming in, we're going to be in for a rude awakening. And it's kind of ridiculous what's happening today. It's overstatement of the issue. And it's going to start affecting not only our sector, but obviously agriculture and everything else is going to be impacted. So we're seeing it now hitting the secondhand.
Having adaptive strategies are going to be smart as we realize that our certain, a certain sector of employees is being diminished.
For sure.
Yeah. We are noticing, as we talked about, the luxury market struggling, a market that we're really seeing come into play, which is one we've been anticipating actually, and guiding a lot of customers in, is advanced contemporary labels, designer led. So this is designer led brands that are leaning into better quality.
Yeah, and that whole better market has an opportunity to really blossom. With adversity, it breeds creativity. With adversity, it breeds opportunity. And as we've been dialoguing with a lot of our customers, you add tariffs to our current equation, which complicates specifically our market because we don't have anything to protect in the US. That market won't come back without a big infusion of technology and investment, which is unlikely to come. Tariffs are now raising that game, creating a more expensive product. And so the ones hardest hit, of course, are the budget companies, the discount companies, the lower price point companies, the disposable product companies. And so the opportunity exists for these kind of better companies because they can more withstand the increased cost due to tariffs. The customer's mindset is slowly changing to more of a European model based upon not only the rising expense, but also the whole conversation about clothing filling landfills. And, that's, 80% of the nation recognizes that there's global warming challenges, that they understand that there's challenges in terms of pollution and landfill. And so adaptive strategies where you buy better, you buy less, can keep our industry supported, wages, labors, labor around the world. We fill landfills less and we withstand the pressure of increased tariffs.
You're right. A lot of these brands are addressing sustainability and talk about the importance of it. But I think the other thing that really provides a successful model for these brands is people like to buy from people. And if you've got an eponymous brand, the founder of that brand is being associated with that. So it's the brand storytelling. It's building that relationship and connection point with the customer. So I think that's another reason why we're seeing such success in this space.
Yeah, and as we see luxury declining, this very thoughtful, priced, better market, I think, is going to continue to explode.
Yeah. A company that is, or two companies that once had a promising venture is now disbanding. I'm talking about the Target and Shop with Ulta. It's deemed as a failure. And
why is that?
Well, I have some thoughts about it. I think if you had the experience of going inside an Ulta within a Target, they had a lot of barriers. It was they roped off entry points. You often just have one way in. It felt like a maze and one way out. I don't think that the employees that were manning that shop within a shop were particularly educated in the product. If you go to Ulta and you're like, I need help, those teams there will guide you through the pros and cons of various products. And I don't think that there was the same dedication within Target. You also had to buy the product within, so you couldn't go do all of your shopping and check out at once. There were just a lot of barriers. I think a little bit better planning could have really made this a promising venture. You also think about placement. It's not uncommon for an Ulta to be right across the street from a Target. So given
direct competition, right?
Right. So, there's, I think, some poor planning.
In traveling around the world, shop concepts have been very, very successful in big urban markets because customers are kind of destination and would like to buy all things concentrated destination. But you're right. The success is when you walk through these shop concepts, you were able to flow in, buy a product, experience the brand with this kind of curated space, and then throw it in your car to carry it with you to the next space and check out.
And those are experts in those shop
and they were experts. They really helped you walk through the brand experience. We've seen that a lot. So
absolutely
learning.
Historic, very known brands coming together. Gildan isn't it to be acquired by HanesBrands, or is it the reverse?
Gildan is acquiring Hanes.
So it's the reverse.
Yeah, it's a $4.4 billion deal. Two mega Goliaths that are kind of combining their efforts, and I think it's going to be pretty amazing. They think that it's going to boost earnings per share by over 20%. Hanes stock jumped about 30% based upon the
crazy.
news.
I mean, you think about the number of factories we've visited worldwide, and sometimes you're competing for space in that factory because of Hanes. Like Hanes is such a big business.
Yeah.
And now this player in the blanks market is coming into
massive activewear sports market. You almost think it's probably a monopoly challenge because they control so much of that basics business.
Right. Wow. That's pretty big news. Last story today is really one of marketing. We got back to school season hitting. There's a couple companies that are being noted for really kind of killing it in the space. Newly, the Urban Outfitters rental service is gaining some traction, and then JanSport also.
Oh my God, those backpack videos are just all sorts of wrong and funny, but I give credit when today people are kind of feeling a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, and there is this success formula for humor, and boy, those backpacks, if you haven't watched one of those videos, you should watch it. It's pretty wrong and right at the same time.
It is.
It's
one
pretty
of those
funny.
things that exactly. It's so bad it's good.
Yeah.
So
South Park meets JanSport almost, but
that's some really good marketing. Newly is really leaning into club programs, ambassador programs. Doing a lot of TikTok marketing and user generated content and those kinds of things. Really building community within that generation. Meanwhile, JanSport is really leaning into, almost what's the word I'm looking for when you're like viral kind of marketing moments with these ads that are
and using the platforms TikTok and YouTube. They're doing really well.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, how long is TikTok going to stick around in the U.S.? They continue to get a reprieve, and boy, they have some loyal following.
Yeah, they do. Well, those are our highlights from this week on Clothing Brief. We do have a reboot episode coming out on our longer platform, Clothing Culture. We're dusting off an episode from our first season that we felt was really made a lot of sense for now. It's about navigating sourcing in turbulent times. And of course, every week we talk about some of the turbulence of our times. So
we didn't mention the T word this entire episode.
No, turbulent is our
T turbulent,
word.
But not the other T word.
So we'll be rolling that out. There is, of course, some valid information, even though that's in our first season. A lot of the principles that we shared then will certainly help as you're looking to make shifts in this space based on our global climate. And don't forget to subscribe so you can stay apprised of those upcoming episodes. And of course, meet us right back here, same time, same place next week for the latest and not so greatest or greatest.
There's some good. We'll sprinkle in a little good. Yeah. At least they're prepared, right? Yeah. Hopefully.
In our industry news. Thank you for joining us.